that I'm really excited about being involved. Hopefully, if I can, Donald, support you in that. I was fortunate to have 2 testimonials. I think JP jumped on back of both of them and distracted a bit of attention. But I'm going to give you all the knowledge that I can to support you and celebrate what's been an amazing career, because you've played more games for Leeds than both Bradford and OKR. So Leeds is definitely your club. When you do your reunions, you've got to come back to Rhinos. But yeah, just tell us about the excitement, how you feel about signing that one more year and having a testimonial in there.
Yeah, I'm over the moon about it, obviously. Leeds is my home now.
Yeah.
I live in Leeds. Since I've come to the club, it's kind of, I would say, changed my life in so many ways, whether it's on the field or off the field as well, you know, and I've got so much to be grateful, you know, to this club for, especially, you know, moving forward as well. You know, I still feel like I've got, you know, a lot of experience that I can bring, you know, to help players within the squad, you know, to grow, whether it's on training, pushing the standards.
Yeah.
And just keep doing what I'm doing, really, you know, trying to, you know, bring the team closer together. You know, that team mentality is something that I try and encourage around the players as well. And yeah, over the moon to get a testimonial as well. I think it's really a reward for myself. You know, I've had a lot of tough times throughout my career, but I've stuck by it, and you know, I've always let my hard work, you know, try and do the talking and keep me in there. You know, moving away from home at 16, you know, I've dedicated all my life to rugby. You know what I mean? And there were so many times when, you know, it could have turned my career. You know, but you know, I'm really proud that, you know, I stuck in, and it feels like I'm getting the rewards from it on the back of it now with a testimonial to celebrate all that.
Mate, you are a real cultural architect, and I mean by one of those people that inspires others as to what values really look like, good values and principles. And mate, I'm getting goosebumps now because I've known you a fair while now. In fact, I remember when you were coming through as this real good young Cumbrian lad. I was coaching the likes of Brad Singleton at the time, who thinks there's a year's difference between you. But I heard your name get regurgitated quite a lot. You went to Bradford. We felt we'd missed out on you, and it's great that you've, you know, subsequently come back. 100 games now for Rhinos, having crossed that milestone last week, which is phenomenal. But I think, you know, you're one of the people that needs to be around this club, because you absolutely epitomise what we hope to be about. Just tell me, just really quick, going back to when you joined, I remember seeing you on a training video. I think I was on holiday, and you come in early because you'd left OKR, and obviously I think Kevin Sinfield would give you an opportunity to come and have a bit of a trial at the Rhinos. And I'm looking thinking, James Donaldson running around there, and you had them tight skins on. What are your early memories, and why Leeds?
Why Leeds was pretty tough. Pretty strange how it came about, really. I got let go by Hull KR in a tough way. You know, I thought that I had a contract there and things were going to be positive after we got safe from relegation, and things soon changed with Hull KR's stance, which left me in a tough place. I didn't have an agent. You know, I was looking for clubs myself, so I decided to, you know, text every coach in Super League myself and say that I was available, that I still had something to offer, which I really did still think that I had at that time. You know, I had some really nice replies, you know, some clubs saying that they'd filled the salary cap and other things on the back of that. And time went by and I actually wasn't getting anything, and I thought it was getting tougher and tougher to a stage where I actually wasn't contracted by Hull KR anymore. They'd stopped paying my wages and I wasn't getting paid anymore. And it got to probably the middle of December, and I'd started putting myself through my own pre-season, you know, at the local gym, because I still knew I had something burning inside of me to play a Super League. Like I said to you earlier, you know, I moved away from home at 16 and dedicated my life to rugby just to end up signing for a championship club. And, you know, I had some nice offers from championship clubs, and I just kind of kept telling them, no, like, if things change, I'll let you know, but, you know, I've got my eyes on Super League. It got to the like I said, the middle of December, and I still didn't have anything, and I thought that it might be January by the time that I might have got an opportunity to either get a trial or sign somewhere. So I actually applied for a job at, you know, Parcel Force, delivering parcels over Christmas, which I thought would give me that little bit of money, you know, to keep myself afloat. You know, I've been pretty sensible with money over my career, but something just to kind of take my mind off it, but put me on to I did get a club, and it was just strange I actually got an interview for Parcel Force, and the next morning I woke up at 9 o'clock and I had a call off Kevin Sinfield, which he says, I'd like you to come down, you know, for a week trial. I can't promise you anything, but we'll have a look at you. And I actually thought that it was someone else on the phone taking the mickey at first. It was a bit of a shock really, and I was over the moon to get that call, because to be fair, I probably wasn't in a good place at the time, you know, thinking my career was probably over, you know. And then a couple of hours later, I got Huddersfield Giants rang me as well, saying they wanted to offer me a trial as well. Which I said, you know, I'm really grateful for that to Huddersfield, but, you know, I'll snap Leeds' hand off and I'll be there tomorrow. And it kind of all developed from there, really. You know, I turned up the next day, you know, things started to go pretty well in training. I think they kind of understood what I'm about as a person and a player, that, you know, more hard work than probably talent, I would say. And they offered me the opportunity to play on Boxing Day, which, you know, was brilliant for myself. I think I come off the bench after 20 minutes, and I think I got creamed. The first carry I took, the ball spilled out, and I just got on with it. And it kind of come off the back of that Leeds offered me a 1-year contract, which was, to me, probably a kind of extended trial for myself, with Dave Hearner coming in as well. Yeah. Which was great for myself, you know, after what I've been through with my career, with injuries, you know, relegations, you know, all the tough times, to actually end up getting an opportunity to play for a club like Leeds, you know, was something I never dreamed I'd get again.
Mate, there's a book called Good to Great, I think it's by Jim Collins, and it talks a lot about an organisation, the bus, getting the right people first on the bus before you set off going. You're absolutely the type of person you want, or anybody'd want on their bus, and I think he's just articulated beautifully exactly why. Now, with that playing career as well, there's a lot gone on at the side of your career, augmented that playing career with other things, which I'd love to get into. Before we do, though, I want to talk a bit about your work ethic, which I think is identified in your family. Certainly with your mum and dad. Your mum, Polly, comes to a lot of the games, yeah. Really famous around rugby league landscape. I don't know if I've met your dad, I probably have, maybe, but I don't see him much because, you know, you're from a farming background, you're obviously a Cumbrian, and he's a grafter, isn't he? Just tell us a little bit about that work ethic of your dad and, you know, that relationship with your mum.
Yeah, like I said, not many people really met him, you know, because he's a farmer, and that's what he evolves his life around, really, which is, I've been really grateful for that, you know, he's worked so hard, because he's probably given us all the life that we've got now, which is brilliant, but that all just comes off the back of his hard work. You know, we're third generation farmers now, so my dad, that's all he's kind of known is farming. His dad's and his granddad were both farmers, and I suppose he's just done that since he was born, and that's all he knows. And I say to a few lads, you know, I've never ever heard my dad say he don't want to go to work tomorrow, never, or he can't be bothered. You know, I've never heard them words ever come out of his mouth. When that alarm goes off at 4:30, he's straight out of that bed, straight into that milking parlour, and, you know, there's no complaining, no moaning, whatever the weather, he's out there grafting. And, you know, I suppose that's where all my family kind of get their motivation for their hard work from, is my dad, and how much he puts into his farm and into his cows is, you know, really satisfying for us to see.
It's encouraging, mate. I obviously, having boys myself, you always wonder what influence you have, and maybe don't even see it, but it's clear that he's had a big influence on you, because your work ethic, you know, is exactly the same. It shines right through. And if you don't mind chatting and talking about it there and sharing, Dono, it's an emotional one. We've got the Spirit of the Rhino, and I've talked about that story a multitude of times, where players come bring an item and they put it in the fire and it burns it, and we get the ashes, and it stays in all time there in the Rhino's head in the resin. You told a story, I remember, at the beginning about your brother and about your family, and an accident, an incident that happened there. That's obviously changed the course of your lives as a family, and a lot of the motivation around why you do certain things. Is it something you don't mind sharing?
No, yeah, my brother happened to be in an accident on our family farm. I think it was around 23 at the time. We were putting a building up, and we put the metal framework up, and we're putting the wooden beams across, probably about 30, 40 foot up in the air. My brother was down on the floor when one of the pieces of wood seemed to tumble down the steel frame. My brother was on the floor picking a tape measure up when the piece of wood, hit him on the back of the neck. Yeah. Which we weren't sure what really happened at the time. My dad was up 30 foot in the air in a bucket, attaching these pieces of wood when it happened. So my dad managed to get down. My brother was laid there and says, I can't move. So he was airlifted off the farm and flown straight to Newcastle intensive care, where he'd broke his neck and snapped his spinal cord, which took some time to kind of figure out what actually was going on. I remember getting to the hospital in Newcastle, and he was in an induced coma at the time with the metal frame round, with obviously holding his neck in place. He'd had his neck fixed up and a few other bits, but we weren't really sure what was to come in the future. He later got moved to Thomas Cook Hospital in Middlesbrough, which was a spinalist specialist unit, which were brilliant for my brother. And it was there that we found out that he was paralysed, and that kind of not understanding what was to come with on the back of that, you see. But yeah, it was tough for all my family, right across. I think that it definitely brought us, closer together. Yeah. Tough for my dad being back on the farm, having to run it on his own. I went back and helped out for a week while that was going on. My mum lived in the hospital chair for a year, beside him. He's managed to, create a life for himself now. He's got a son now, which is his motivation, to keep going and keeping strong for his son, really. But it was so tough. But I remember the time when my brother actually, when I was making my debut for Bradford, and I was warming up, and my brother had come out of hospital that day, right, which I didn't know, but he'd come straight to the game out of being released out of hospital for 12 months. And I remember scoring my first Super League try that game, right in front of my brother, and it was amazing feeling. But he drives me now, throughout my career. He can't do a lot of things that I can do. And I think about him a lot before I go into a game of how privileged I am and how lucky I am to have my legs, and be able to walk, be able to feed myself. But he's been massive in driving me right throughout my career.
That's awesome. It's great to be able to share that as well. Thanks, Dono. Your gratitude shines through, mate. Yeah, that humility. And I'm sure you're an inspiration for him as well. You just mentioned he's got a human, you've got another one on the way. And I love families. My family's the most important thing to me in the whole world. And I can tell it's very important to you as well. So you've got another one due, I think, if you don't mind sharing. Is that public knowledge?
Yeah, it is. Well, it is now. Me and my wife, Georgia, we've got a little boy already, Tobias. Tornado Tobias, he goes by, because he's an absolute whirlwind. And another on the way, which is really exciting. But especially Georgia, we've been together 13 years now, which has definitely been a massive rock for me throughout my career as well. Keeping me positive, keeping me on the right track. Making sure I'm doing the right things, which has really helped me to keep my career on track, really, which I'm really grateful for as well.
Yep, those partners, mate, they mean the world to us. That's why we get out of bed every day for the families, certainly with me as well. And a little bit like myself, I think one of the most important parts of my career journey was going to university, studying, and then thinking about what I'm going to do next whilst trying to get my fingers in many proverbial pies. And it really did benefit me in the end. You're very similar. You're a grafter. You've done some amazing work with some lads, certainly in the gardens, when it comes to anything farming or manual. Just tell us a bit about what you did at university and some work actually that you've found now that will form a part of your future.
Yeah, when I first joined Leeds, I've got a great connection with the Leeds Beckett University, which, you know, being at other Super League clubs, they don't have that connection, which is brilliant. You know, I never envisioned that, you know, I'd go to university, never in a million years, and something I'm, you know, really proud of as well. You know, so when the opportunity come to go to uni while playing, you know, I had to snap their hand off. So I decided to do a 3-year degree in quantity surveying. You know, I'm not the best with, you know, writing letters and all them sort of thing, but I'm brilliant with numbers, so I thought that'll be right up my track. So I decided to take it on full time while playing full time at Leeds. You know, I wasn't sure how long I was going to be at Leeds at the time, so I thought I'd try and get the course done, you know, as soon as possible, and have that backup plan there for me, whether I need it or not. Obviously, I've been at Leeds now 5 years, so I've got that degree ticked off, which was a real achievement for myself. And I think that degree nearly cost me my marriage at times, because it was that taxing. You know, I was finishing training at 2 o'clock, and I'd go to uni till 7 at night, and then I had my assignments on the top of that, which was pretty heavy going. But now, you know, I've managed to finish it, and I've got a job which I'm doing 1 day a week at the moment with a company in Leeds called Ryder Live in Bucknell. I actually ended up meeting Andy, who works for Ryder Live in Bucknell, through the university. Right. He was given a guest lecture for the year above me, and when he was walking out, one of the players asked him, one of the pupils asked him if he used to play for Leeds United. He must look like one of them, and he said, "No, but I used to play for Rhinos Academy when I was a kid." Anyway, the teacher says, "Oh, we've got James Donaldson on the course." Andy says, "Pass him my number," and I've met him for a coffee, and he kind of mentored me through the back end of uni, you know, helping me out, and it's actually led to an opportunity to work with his company now, which has been, I suppose, really enjoyable for myself. You know, on my days off, you know, you find it easy to sit yourself in a coffee shop, which I really do enjoy as well. But it's even more, you know, satisfying to be, you know, putting something into my future as well, which I found I've done. And you know, they've got an offices in Leeds and London, all over the country, some in Australia, Saudi Arabia. So we've been working on some really exciting projects over in Saudi. One's called the Line. We're building an Olympic training centre, 5 football stadiums, which is really exciting. So I've been trying to hint a trip over to see these projects at some point. But yeah, really enjoying it, and kind of takes my mind off rugby when I'm not at training, which is, you know, something that really helps me, you know, to put my energy into rugby when I'm here, because I'm taking my mind off it on my days off, which is really enjoyable, and it's been going good. So hopefully it can help me when I need it. You know, I still think I've got a few years left in my legs, but I've got that kind of set up for when I need it in the future.
And as well as going to university and having this job in the pipeline, tell us about the milkshake as well, Moo. I love it. You brought a load of samples, and it's basically, you know, it's like milkshake, it's but proper milk. That's not, well, it's pasteurised legally, obviously, but it's as good as you can get in terms of the organic stuff straight out of the cow. Gives an insight into what that's all about.
Yeah, so obviously on the family farm back at home, milk price isn't the best at the moment. So my mum came up with this idea that she wanted to get this milk vendor, which has been brilliant, you know, for the community in West Cumbria as well. So on the first 10 cows on a morning, the milk's taken from them and put in we call it a pasteuriser. All that is heated up to 65 degrees, cooled down to 4 degrees, and put in a vendor where people can come. They can buy a branded bottle with moose on the more on. Then bottles change every few months, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Easter, Valentine's, you know, which is good because people want to collect the bottles as well. Because you can clean your bottle out and bring it back to refill it, but people kind of want to collect the bottles, which is a good part of it as well. And so you put the bottle in the machine, you've got 6 choices of different milkshakes, you know, chocolate, strawberry, banana. You can have raw milk, just your usual milk, and there's 2 that change every week, which are usually like crunchy, bounty, you know, Cadbury's cream egg. You know, they do Halloween ones, so they might say the strawberry, but they might be like green or something like that. So it's just kind of added a bow onto the farm, but it's also, you know, really satisfying to see people turning up. You know, sometimes I wake up at 6 in the morning when I'm up there, and people are queuing at, waiting for it to open at 6 o'clock, and it shuts at 10 at night, which has been brilliant, really, for the farm, and added a boat to it. And we've recently got a raw coffee vendor, raw milk coffee vendor now, so that's been added, and I think there's probably, you know, an ice cream vendor, you know, in the pipeline in the future.
Mate, I reckon they'd fly. We need to get them down here in like a big shipping container and sell them at games or in some sort of supermarket car park. I'm telling you, mate, it's popular. The challenge though is that the milk, it's got a shelf life, hasn't it? Because it's pasteurised at the minimum legal to keep it as pure as you can, essentially. What's your favourite flavour?
I drink strawberry usually, and if I'm not on strawberry, I just go with one of the specials on every week just to try a different one. You know, Reese and Cam Smith, they seem to love their chocolate because they have me bringing it down. So I'm turning into training with like 5, you know, cooling boxes, absolute rammed with milkshakes when I go up there. You know, I get requests. Even fans message me over Instagram and ask how they can get hold of them. But it's only on the farm in Cumbria. But hopefully we might be able to do something with a testimonial to bring some down to Headingley and you know, get the fans to try them as well. Awesome.
I'd definitely have some. My boys will do as well. It's no coincidence you're talking about yourself with the milkshake, you're talking about Cam Smith with his coffee, Nenny McDonald with his honey. I think there's something on there, mate, a big gap in the market. You mentioned testimonial. Just obviously testimonials are great opportunities to celebrate your career, your memories, the people that you've been on that journey with. What events have you got lined up, or are you still working on that? What do you see for the next sort of 12 months?
Obviously it's a 3-month testimonial, so it'll start in December. So I think the first event that I'll be having is a Christmas party at Headingley on the 13th of December, which is a Wednesday. And that's when we'll have a get-together for the first time, which will be up at the stadium. And then I'll have a game in the end of January, I think. And at some point we'll try and take something up to Cumbria to kind of put something on up there, but also try and give a bit back to the community up in Cumbria, and hopefully take the team up there with us, do some coaching with the kids, and try and give a little bit back as well.
Class. And then long term, don't know, like I always try to surround myself with great people and people like you. And I've got this real sense of whatever you do next is going to be extremely successful. Have you got a bit of a short-term plan or a bit of a vision, a dream of who and what you might want to be down the line in 5, 10 years' time?
Do you know what? I haven't really actually looked probably that far forward. It's only probably come to a light that I've actually got a plan for my future in this last year, really. You know, I want to play, you know, at Leeds for as long as I can until I actually, you know, hold my hand up and say that I don't think that I can play the standard anymore. And I suppose, like I said, I've got that quantity surveying in there. You know, I think that it'll always be hard work that gets me to wherever I want to be, and just kind of be a people person, really. You know, I seem to be doing a lot more networking now than I've ever done. You know, just meeting new people, meeting their ideas, and try to be, like you said, around good people and people that drive you forward in the future.
We were reminiscing earlier about our fingers. We've got the same sort of injury on the same finger, on the same hand. We'll show you a bit of a screenshot of what that looks like, and you can decide which one's worst. But mate, James Donaldson, thank you very much for joining me on Box 2. It's been a pleasure, mate. I'm inspired, educated and entertained as always.